Okay, good morning. We started a Sichah. It's printed in Chilik Tesvav. It's page 324. Vayeshev Dal Chanukah. It's a Sichah that's connected with Chanukah and our Parsha, Parshas Vayeshev. So in our Parsha we said, Pasuk says, V'haborik im b'mayim, and the pit. We had this in today's Chitas, yesterday's Chitas, V'haborik im b'mayim. I'm always a day ahead, so I don't remember. V'haborik im b'mayim. So you find in the Sugi of Chanukah, the Gemara says, what does it mean in our Parsha of Borek Im B'mayim? Obviously, if it says it's empty, obviously it's empty of water. Why does it have to say Im B'mayim? So from here, the Gemara says that there was no water in the pit that they threw Yosef, but there was a chashav akrab, but there were snakes and scorpions. So the Rebbe started connecting it with the Sugi of Chanukah, that the Pashtus is because we brought one halacha from Reb Kana, Darash from Nasib Bar Miyim, Mishvei Reb Talfun. So that's why we're bringing another halacha that he said. But still, everything in Torah is B'tachas Sadiuk, and the Pashtus, if we're bringing the Sugya of Chanukah, this pasuk in Parshas Vayeshev, it has a connection. Now, what does it mean, Ein Mayim? What does it mean, Mayim? There's no water. So Chazal say true water means Torah. Ein Mayim Ela Torah. So we have many different allusions to that. So when we're saying V'haborek Ein B'mayim, it means that when a person does not have Mayim Torah in his life, so automatically he'll be filled up with snakes and scorpions, which means he'll have shtusim in his head. Like the Baal Shem Tov said on the pasuk V'sartem V'avadatem, so the Baal Shem Tov touched up, V'sartem, when a person is veering away from the Eibishter, automatically, a person is going to go ahead and serve Avodah Zarah. There's no in between. Either you're on the right or on the left. Either you're a Democrat or a Republican. You can't. there's no in between. So Havdil with the Eibishter, there's no. Oh, I'm not going to learn, but I'm also not going to be involved in this. I'm a neutral guy. I respect what you're doing. I believe what you're doing, but to me, Torah doesn't have any connection. So what does the pasuk say about Borek Im B'mayim? If you don't have the Mayim of Torah, so automatically you're going to have the chashav and akrab.
For is actually according to what it says in Pirgeos about the vanity of Pirgeos, like the guy who was like,
right, right. Exactly. Yeah, you can't be exactly. Okay, then morning. How are you? Okay, then that's the part. That's went Barichas in this the other day, and then we explained the idea of Sachlibi B'Ser Sefa, that V'nafshika for la Kolti of Sachlibi B'Ser Sefa. We explained that in order for a person to have the true Sachlibi B'Ser Sefa, he has to be in a state of a nafshi kafar l'koltia. He has to be very bottle. Why? Because what's the idea of Torah? The idea of Torah is to be connect with the Neis and Torah. How do you connect with the Neis and Torah? This is only if a person is at a state of bittul, that the bittul could connect with the believable. Because if a person is going to be a metzias, he's going to be gvul, then the gvul can't connect with the believable. That's what we said in very, very short. And we're holding, I believe, Ches, right? Okay. I thought it's a continuation from the Sichah of the day. Okay. Hey. Okay. Now, you just think. Thank you. Okay. So Ches. Alpize is good verstandig, the Maimer Chazal, Mayim in Boya, when the Choshev Akrav Mishbir. Based on this, we can understand what Chazal say that there was no water, but there were snakes and scorpions. So, Kanal the Pirush them, as I know, Mayim in Boy is better than the Choshev Akrav Mishbir. Like we explained, that when a person doesn't have the Mayim, doesn't have the Torah, automatically is going to get a Choshev Akrav. So, the Rebbe, Balda as the Iker from Torah is therefore verbunden with the Neis and Torah. Since the whole fundamental theme of Torah is to connect with the Neis and Torah, was kum durch ein bittel from the Mleimet, which comes with the bittel of the one who learns it. The riber is in them nitakin ord if adavim mutzas. You can't have a middle path. Other Mayim is that the Bittel to Neisra Torah. Or Demal, there's a Merchavin in Zayn Limud La Mitas Shal Torah. This is the Ratzin from them Neisra Torah. So either he is totally submissive and he then can connect with the Neisra Torah, or the Eber is Chas V'Shalom, the other Mayim, they're Bittel Shal Torah. But if a person does not have the Bittel of Torah, then will felt by him the Shaychas of Neisra Torah, so then he lacks the connection to the giver of the Torah. From Pila the idol, Bekupa the Machte Kanal. And especially this idea of, like we explained, he can't fathom how a elephant can go into a needle's hole, the eye of a needle. So automatically, if he doesn't have that bittul, so he'll have the Choshev Akrav. Not only is he not going to have a connection to Torah, like it says that Torah is not found by somebody who's haughty, nor is the mit oicham and nagid to kedusha. He's also somebody who's opposed to kedusha. U'kumaymer Chazal, like the Gemara says about somebody who has gaiva, ein anivu yichem mother beilam. We cannot coexist with such a person. Or nachmer kilo evid avidus kechavim kafar beikar v'avadim. Not only is somebody who has gaiva, Hashem says I can't live with him, but also Hashem says it's like you serve the Avidazar. Und das ist euch, was der Medrash verteidigt benegir der Achi Yosef genau, as the Sreiken Beir Shel Yaakov ein bei Divriteh. This is also what the Medrash says, that the pit of Yaakov was empty, and there was no Torah. By Zeh hat gefällt, so what was lacking by the brothers? By Zeh hat gefällt, that Etzem Nun La Torah und sein haben gehalten as al pi din kum Yosef in Misa. Which means that it wasn't just like they were jealous of Yosef that the father favored him, or like, oh, he gave him Ksinis Pasim. They had a fundamental halachic issue with Yosef that they felt that al pi din Yosef deserved to die, to get killed. So what was lacking by the brothers? They were lacking the idea of Mayim, the bittul. When the Iber is there psak din, when he gets the Menish to Yosef, because they were lacking the bittul, they were lacking that bittul to Hashem. So automatically their theory and their theology of why Yosef deserved Misa was not correct, and that's what it means. Like Avi were saying the other day, it's not the Mayim is not the way that the Rebbe teaches up. It's not going on Yosef's pit. But Habor Reik in by Mayim means that the Shvatim were lacking the Mayim, were lacking the Bittul. And therefore, they were filled up with the Nechoshev Akrav. Tess. They support up an unser Parsha, wegen die Murais von Yosef mit seinen Brüdern, seinen Akdama zu Gos mit Mitzrayim. The stories and the happenings and the occurrences that happened to Yosef with his brothers is a preface or to the Golas in Mitzrayim. Why? When Yosef had gefeared to the Yeridah from Yaakov but in Mitzrayim. Through them selling Yosef, that caused everybody eventually to come down to Mitzrayim. Zetachas is the need from Manteda, which what happened after Manteda, what happened after going to Mitzrayim was in order ultimately to receive the Torah. Now, and the same is, but again, the concept of there was no water, but there's nechasha. Was the Torah land owns in their parsha as das is negia to Kolel in from Antera. This the Torah teaches us that this is negia to Antera. Warum the Inge from Mayan Shupatera the bittul was fathered sich beim Leben der Torah sich verbinden sich mit dem Nesen Torah hat sich beiger aufgetan beim Antera. Why? Because when did this whole idea of a person being bottled, Mayim, in order to receive the Torah, that happened, and that was accomplished mainly by Mantera. And he explains, the chiluk zwischen dem Limud Atera from the obvious far Mantera and dem Limud Atera from the bottom of Mantera. What's the difference between learning, the obvious learning before Mantera and after Mantera? Is far Mantera is the Limud given bekeich atzmei. So before Mantera, a person was learning with his own power. What Masig Mantera Zefil, before Nivra is bekeich to find banem and verstehen. The person who learned Torah, the obvious, the Shvatim, they learned Torah, but that was as much as his own creature could possibly understand. So the Ufter for Mantera is what was the accomplishment of Mantera? V'nasan lanu es Torah that Hashem gave us the Torah. The Torah is Torah What are we saying? That Hashem's Torah Rasei, Shalom Kadosh Baruch Hu, which is Yeshua Melech Batzmus, Hashem's like essence, is He given Gemara and Hakadosh Baruch Hu to Yidden. It was given from Hashem to every single Yid. The verstandig euch in the Sagdin as Yeder Yid and Yeder Tag is Mechuyev Zagen Berachas HaTorah, and that's why we know the din is that every person has to say Berachas HaTorah. Okay, so the Rebbe says, "Das is Echabir in the Maimer Chazal." This is also a explanation in what Chazal say with Chila Yamay Shalem Teira. At the beginning, Moshe learned Teira, and he would forget about it. Until Hashem gave it to him as a gift. Was the Cheres was not understood. Even before Man Teira, they learned Teira. The Chazal Zagim Yemei Shlavus in Parshishim Mehem, from the days of the Ovis. They never not had a yeshiva. What is doch pashut? As they haben nicht vergessen, was they haben gelernt, and they didn't forget what they learned. Befrat as anders is nicht shaykh der limud and al even from yeshiva. Otherwise, you can't have a yeshiva. Hein, wie kommt es as darf nach Mantera mishal limud mishishcha? So how could it be that before Mantera they didn't have this idea of forgetting? And you're saying that after Mantera Moshe would forget Torah, and then Hashem had to give it to him as a gift. How does that work? So the Rebbe says, "Nar the beer and now." What's the explanation? The limud farman Torah is given in the pchina from Torah v'zis be'erech habriya. The learning of Torah before Man Torah was the way Torah has a connection to the creation. When the Riber had zigi kent niklat veren, and the Riber had zigi kent niklat veren in apnimis. So that's why, since it had a connection to the Bria, it was able to be absorbed in a inner way. But Shengim Baman Teira had the Eberster Moshe given Teira say. Now, after Man Teira, Hashem gave Moshe the full access of Teira. These in God's and had her from the Bria, which is the way the Eberster Teira is much higher than Bria. Was a Nivra can Irbekech Atzim Nit Kelel sein. The Nivra himself cannot absorb the Dibur Hayalim Teira Mishikha. Therefore, since Moshe Rabbeinu after Man Teira is getting Teira, so he's getting the Ebershter's Teira full access, not the way it is a connection to Nivra, but the way that the Ebershter gives it on his level. So therefore, Moshe says, without a gift, I forget. As we explained in Siv Zayin, the idea that Teira does not stop being preserved, it's not being guarded. Now, so what happened? Until he got it as a gift. The Ebershter was his Kol Yochol and can Mechaber Ligwol and Gvul. The Ebershter who can do everything. He can connect with Ligwol and Gvul. But Zayin Teira built in Mugbelas Nitnalei. So what did Hashem do? Hashem gave his Teira V'chonis of Ayin Yafanesen. Gave him Derech Matana. Hashem gave it as a gift. Was kum nitval batzolt Shavia Shviyat move the Genivra. So Hashem gave it to him as a gift. So now he's not limited. So this happens by every Jew. So the Torah is absorbed by a person in a primistic way because Hashem gave the Torah, or the Ebersh taught this, he gave him because Hashem gave it to him as a gift. On the other hand, even though they didn't take Torah because of the Neisnat Torah, thereby Zayin der Bittel Adam bechtet zu Torah soll bei ihm sein B'shtameres. Nevertheless, since the Torah, now even though they didn't take the Torah from the Neisnat Torah, but the person himself has to be at the level of Bittel in order that it should be preserved. Kanal Baruch, like we expect. Since we want every single Yid that he should work, we don't want it to be like shameful bread that people are just getting for free. We want everybody to work. That's what Hashem wants from us. The Ibra Muzder Adam Ton Epis Mitzidai was Zol Im Mafin Roy and Agirisamas to Kolel Zayin to Nasa Shakadosh Baruch Hu. So a person has to do everything in his power or something in his power is bittul in order to receive Hashem's Torah. And thus is durch them in bittul. So how do you do that? This is through being submissive. Or durch them geht arois von seinem Metzius und Agbals Gnal do that, he's going out of his own existence, his own agbalas, as we explained by Baruch. Yud. Apika now is eight moving the keshet zwischen the Member Chazal, my main boy, mit the von Chanukah was if the far bring this to Gemara in the Sugya von Chanukah. This is the beginning of the Sichah. What's the connection to this my main boy, Parshas Vayeshev, as the Gemara said to the Sugya of Chanukah? The Rebbe says like this: says you do it the husband from the Kalashin, the Nusa from Valanism. We're going to start Chanukah, Rosh Hashem Thursday night. What do we say over there in the Valanism? Kisha Omda Malchus Yovan Arsham, the Ashkicham, that Malchus Yovan got up. Ashkicham, to make us forget Teira Sefa, your Teira. Does I mean as the Yivanim haben gewollt machen vergessen bei jedem nicht die Etzem Chacham Seichel von Teira. All Bryson say von Limud Teira B'chal. No, das was the Teira is Teira Sefa Teira Hashem. What was the issue with the Yivanim? They didn't mind that they even learned Teira, but it bothered them that it was Teira Sefa. It was the Ebershus Teira. Learn Teira because it's a fine book. It's an intellectual book. Don't learn Teira because it's Hashem's Teira. That's why they impured all the oil in the Eichel. They didn't go ahead and just hide the Shmanim or lose the Shmanim. They were metamed. Shem is the P'chinuf and Chachma. Shem is the idea of Chachma. Yivanim haben masking gewesen as bei Yidden soll bleiben der Shemesh. Shemen. Chachma mit dem Latera. Sie haben gewollt, als das soll sein Shemen Tamich Hashem. Das soll nicht sein verbunden mit Kedushas, Hatera mit Nesen, Hatera Sefa. Yivanim agree that the Yidden should learn Torah, but it should remain in the way of Shemen, just Chachma, and Bumah Torah. And that's why they were metamed, because they wanted to take out the Kedusha of Torah, the holiness of Torah. They just wanted that it should remain a very, very intellectual book. Und das ist einer von den Tamen, für was der Eberster hat gemacht in Nes, was soll gefinden, Pach von Shemen Torah. Hagam as Misadem was Tumah Hutu B'Tzibur, haben gemerkt, madig sein, die Venere mit the Shemen Torah. One Hashem has to make a miracle that the oil lasted. We know Tumah Hutu B'Tzibur. So why not Hashem make this miracle? Well, the Nitzach of Chanukah B'Shteit in them, as all Zayin Torah Sefa Hashem Natur. Because what's the miracle of Chanukah? That, or the victory of Chanukah was that the Torah should remain Torah Sefa, should be a pure Shemen. But then we get us 3 years, Be'inyan, Ma'im, Be'chuli, as Dafka, Dr. Minyan, Ma'im, Shabbatet, the Bittul, Tzim, Nes, Natera, is Mavor from the Chashim, Akram, Yeshbait. And let's explain that Ma'im, Be'y means that the Bittul, when you don't have the Bittul of Torah, or when you have the Bittul of Torah, so you keep away the Nechashim, Akram. Now, Dev says, so what's the connection between this and Chanukah? Dev says, Dev Zeh is in the Minyan for Chanukah. As Dafka, Dr. Adlaka, Faneres, Chanukah, Shemen Torah, the Dafka, when the Yidden, they lit the Shemen Torah, but Kal Digla the Tarmadoi. So what happens? The Gemara says, when is the last time that you could light the Chanukah Menorah? Is when the people of Tarmadoi leave the marketplace. So Chassidus touches up, and the Rebbe brings us down many times, that Tarmudoi is Oisius Meredis, is the same letters as rebellion. So what does it mean? The Kal Digla the Tarmadoi. Osman is felt in the meaning for Shemen Torah to the Sefa. Is noch alsta am looking for merida meredus, and the Meibushin beside them about them. So Kozman that there is going to be this. There's no bittul. There's the placking the Shemen Torah. So automatically you're going to get the idea of meredus. So by lighting Chanukah, we're bringing the darkness ibachutz. So you're able to get rid of the meredus in an ultimate way. As mizengantzim mechalim inyi for meredus and afi the digla tarmadoi plus ish tachtena business mered the cheshkas agolos and we bring that up the gula mitzashlim rekodimama. So basically, what's the connection with Parshas Vayeshev and Chanukah? This parsha, the idea, even though the Gemara brings it down, is because the whole Gzera of Chanukah was that the Yidden should not have this mind. They should not have this bittul. You want to say learn Torah, but you don't need to have the bittul. Learn it because it's an intellectual book. It's a Geshmaka book. But don't take out the Torah Secha. Take out the mind. Take out the Kedusha. And we're saying no, that the Yidden Dafka, they lit the candles and the Torah to go away, even though Tumah Hutu B'Tzibur, is because that's, since the Yevonim wanted to accomplish that we should take out the Kedushas HaTorah, so what do we have to do? We have to do everything in our power to bring the Kedusha of Torah, to bring the mind, to bring that bittul, so we can preserve that Kedusha. All right, tomorrow, Hashem, we'll start a new Mayim around Chanukah.